So how do you increase productivity? First of all, you need to understand what productivity is. Productivity, in my opinion, is the amount of work that you can do in 1 unit of time with 1 unit of energy you spend on it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what most successful people do to increase their productivity, as well as some of my own understanding of it. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so first of all, this video is not the one, to teach you how to increase efficiency. And there are just like so many tips and tricks you can find online in terms of, improving efficiency. For example, like setting a 25 minutes timer, put your phone away, things like that, where you can easily find on YouTube. So this video assumes that, we can all head down working on something without any distraction. In that case, how to be more productive. There are a few things that I think you should do to increase your productivity. Number one, building system and template for the things you do. Number two is master the relevant skills. And number three is to use leverage whenever you can. So one thing that I find it very, very common among successful people is that they are really good at building systems and template for the things they do. And this will save you tons of time once you realize, everything actually has a template to follow. So for example, why Starbucks is so successful? Because there's a system for everything they do. They have an SOP for each drink, the ingredients to put for each drink, the temperature for each drink, the size, how to serve customers, what questions to ask, so on and so forth. And this makes them highly efficient when it comes to making orders. Also, if you're an engineer, then think about how to solve a complicated coding problem. Let's actually go through this flow. So we divide and conquer, right? The first thing we do is to find all the edge cases. Then we think about all the different scenarios for these issues or this problem, and then we come up with different solutions, right? And for each solution, we think about what algorithm we should use. For example, do we use BFS? Do we use DFS? Do we use greedy algorithm? And then after analyzing scenario A, there's a scenario B. And after we come up with all these solutions, at the end, we kind of evaluate the pros and cons for each scenario, each solution, and then we do the big O, time and space analysis, and finally, based on all these different pros and cons, we give a final solution. I mean, same thing for product managers too. So as a product manager, once you realize everything, the product lifecycle is actually a template or is a system, this can really help you in the long term. For example, the product lifecycle start with interviewing customers, figure out they have these A, B, C, D, these pain points, right? And then once you collect all these feedback, understanding their pain points, we start to prioritize these pain points and turn them into different features. And once we have these as features, right, we start to think about costings, the resource, and then the priorities and things like that. Then we found dependencies of these features to partner teams, right, for them to do some costings. And once we have done that, the next phase will be, PMs work with the dev engineers, to implement the APIs. And once we have the APIs ready, then we work with designers for the UI, and then the content team for the documentation. And then finally, we go through some testings and previews, and finally, we ship it to the customers. Realizing everything has a template to follow and everything has a system can really, help you spend less time wondering about what next step is and being clueless. And of course, without any relevant knowledge or skills, right, you can't really tackle any of the components I mentioned above. So that is why I'm introducing number 2 here, which is mastering the relevant skills. Using the same example as above, right? So imagine yourself as a Starbucks employee. So without any relevant skills, for example, if you do not know how to talk to customers, if you don't know how to talk to people, if you do not know how to make a drink, for example, no matter how detailed the SOP is, right, you can't make a drink for customers. You can't deliver an order. Same thing applies for software engineers, right? If you're an engineer, doesn't matter how familiar you are with the structure of solving the coding problems, right? Doesn't matter how to read the edge cases, doing the big O analysis. If you do not have any algorithm in mind, then you can't really solve a coding problem, right? And same thing applies to product managers. So what I want to say here is that skills that used to be very difficult to learn. So before, if you want to learn some skills, right, you have to attend some courses, find a teacher, find a tutor, spend lots of money for it, and going to a school, etc. But for now, I mean, we can basically learn everything from online, right? Like there's YouTube, you can watch video from, there's like, you can even just ask ChatGPT, right? You have questions, just ask ChatGPT, and you'll get an answer. The cost of learning something new, the cost of mastering a skill is so much cheaper than before. Well, I know learning a skill will take time, but trust me, the time you spend on learning a new skill is well worth it and will benefit you in the long run. All right, so now that you have the mindset of building system and template, and now you are a master of your skill set, so what's next? How do I increase my productivity to, let's say, 10 times, even more? Now introducing leverage. Also, by the way, when you reach to this stage and start thinking about number 3, using leverage, you are no longer thinking as an individual contributor, you are thinking as an entrepreneur. So how do we use leverage, or what does it mean? All right, so leverage means that you put in the same amount of work as someone else, but if you have a leverage, then you get more reward. So imagine yourself using a pulley to pull the same amount of weight versus someone, trying to move the same amount of weight with bare hand, which they can barely move it. So for example, Ronald McDonald didn't make all the sandwiches or burgers himself, right? He didn't go to all these locations at McDonald's. What he did was he hired a bunch of people to cook and sell for him. Same thing as successful YouTubers, right? They don't make all the videos and do the video editing themselves, right? And basically what they do is that they basically outsource their video editing and marketing to other people so that they can focus on what they're best at, which is making content. A successful product manager also leverages the knowledge of developers, designers, the content team, support team, so on and so forth, right? So they can focus on talking to customers, solving their pain points, and then building the next generation products. All right, to summarize, imagine yourself building a house, right? The first thing you want to do is to make sure you have a blueprint of the house. That's basically the structure, the system, and template that you have in mind. And then you have to make sure you have all the relevant skills, right? Master all the relevant skills, including painting the house, building the stairs, building the pillars and things like that. And finally, if you want to build a city, then it's your time to leverage other people's skills to reach the next milestone. All right, guys, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. And peace.